Hi guys, and season's greetings from IC3D. I hope you've enjoyed the beta version so far. We are releasing the 1.5 version shortly, and I wanted to show you what's happening in regards to the joints and the functionality in creating joints. In this case, I've got a little assembly here where we've got an angle or a brace. So basically a connection I need to create in this corner here to connect my diagonal to my column and my beam. Now this can change in angle, so I would like to make that a little bit flexible in regards to orientation and size of plate, so you can see this can actually change all depending. So I've prepared a little model earlier of the plate itself, so it should look something like that, the overall geometry. The sketch itself I've left somewhat underdefined because I do want to force a certain behavior onto the final shape, all depending on the angle. So we're going to go in and capture some of this. So obviously firstly we need to put in some mates so we can place the plate. So, and we're going to use a defined joint functionality here. So you can see here we've got some options in regards to mates, flexible mates, cutouts, and so on and so forth. We'll go through them individually. So we're going to start with the mate. I'm going to add a mate here. The first mate is obviously this front face here, so I can pick that. And we're going to put in some description we will see in the dialog later on when we insert the plate. So here, mate to angle. And I'm just going to copy and paste this to save a little bit of time. And for the image, I've done some screen captures earlier, so we can basically go in and find one of these, basically to show in the dialog where to mate to. In this case, it's this face there. I'm going to go OK to that. And that's the first mate defined. So we can go in and add some more mates here. I'm going to add a mate for this face. I'm going to rename that. That's the face that made it to the column. Copy that and find an illustration that shows where to mate that to. Obviously any illustration can be made in Paint or any other capture tool, so you can put some annotation on it if you like, little arrows and whatnot. You can go in and put that in, and the last one is obviously the bottom one here, so that's the one that sits on the beam. Mate to beam. Let's see, and whack that in there and find a little illustration for that. And there we have it. Go OK to that and OK. So far so good. So we've got the mates in. Now I've got some a scenario here where I actually want to line some of the sketch up to other geometry. So that's going to be lined up in context of the assembly later on. For that I'm going to use flexible mates. So the flexible mates can be added in here as well. So I'm going to add a flexible mate here. In this case I need reference selections, and I'm going to pick this point here because that's going to be the end of my angle, the member, and obviously that's going to determine the distance to the holes. So from that we can call it start of path, for example. And we're going to add in a little illustration for that as well. That'll be that one. Starts there. And we'll go OK to that. We will continue putting in another flexible mate here. So as simple as that, you can see it actually jumps to that new mate, so I can just go in and pick my reference. And in this case I'm going to pick my construction line here because I want that to line up with my angle bar. And for that we're gonna put in a description as well, made to path, and gonna work in here, and we're gonna pick our little illustration again and go OK to that. By the way, the joint icon here, I'd already changed it, but you can go in and just simply double click here and put in an illustration to your liking as well, so it all depends what you would like to do. So that's all good. The cutouts, I would like obviously to populate the cutouts to my angle as well, so we'll add a cutout. And this, my reference selection would be the sketch for the cutout here. You can have any sketch in there really, you do not necessarily have it associated to cut extrude, for example. So for that we're going to go in and set my cut. In this case I'm going to put in 0.05 and 0.05. This is still in meters. But it will be changed later on, I've been told. So we go OK to that, and all good. So we've put in our mates to locate it, some mates to locate my sketch entities, and also the cutout. So we will say OK to that for now, and I'm going to save this and add it to my library. So for the library manager here, so I'm going to add this new item. In fact, I'm just going to double check that I've got everything in here. For example, that one I might actually want to add that into my library. Dimensions as well. Plates, I'm going to call that angle connection. We can include dimensions. We might not necessarily want them all, but I can include them, or those that I marked before, and here we can actually create new configurations, if you like, of that particular plate. So we're going to whack that in, tick OK to that, and it's all done. Let's test that. I'm just going to close that down now, and in here we're going to insert my IC member. I have to go in and actually find it, so joints, plates, my angle connection here, tick OK, and we get this dialog up. So here we actually got our little illustrations, and so you can see when I start to drag this in, it actually opens up for these illustrations, so it will tell me where to connect these mates. So mate to angle, so I'm going to pick that, obviously. Mate to column, again that was that, so pick that. Mate to beam, whack that in here. Start of path, that will be my start path for my angle here, and also mate to path here would be the one that follows the path here, and it's all good. We can tick OK to that, and it should populate my cutouts as well. Okay, let's see if this now behaves as intended. So obviously if I change the angle here now, we should have it working. So let's just change that to 45 degrees. You can see the plate shape changes, and everything is well. So very good. Now I would like to add some more smarts to this. So I'm going to delete all this out again, and yes to all to that, and delete the last bit out here, yes. Save that and close it down. In fact, I do not really need to close that down, so let's just open that up again. So I'm gonna open up my newly created joint from in here, So let's open that up here. Obviously, for example, a made reference. So we can go in and add a made reference in here. In this case, it would be that front face. I will make that coincident and any, and go OK to that, and simply save it. So that saves it back to our library, and I can try it again. So let's just insert member here. In fact, I'm just going to reverse this so I can actually see the face I'm going to mate to. So here, let's go down and find my joint. Here, angled connection. Click OK to that. And when I grab it here now and drag it in, you can see that it will actually mate it in. So let's do that. Now the difference here is obviously that the first mate here is now grayed out, so it's already assigned. So in that case we can continue and add the other mates, and it's as easy as this, and everything seems to be ticking over fairly well, like so. Adding it in, and off we go. Okay, a few other things. Obviously when we add these in, there was actually a functionality I would like to show you here as well. So I'll just delete all this out again, like so, and actually try to insert that same joint again. In this case I'm just gonna drag it in and mate it up. Now I can pop that in here, there, so everything works fine. Down the bottom here we've got a couple of new icons where it comes in really handy if it's larger structures and you work in a certain area. You might get out of focus, so we can now zoom to fit from in here. We can zoom straight into that particular joint we're working on. We can also restore the original orientation from here. Okay, let's just pop that in and make the path here. Bang. Okay, and it's in. Okay, so the general functionality of this connection plate is actually working pretty well. There's obviously other things we can do to it. In this case I've got my component reference, for example, is blank, so generally you would type something in here as well. The same accounts for the custom properties, and I might want to have a specific property in there. For example, in this case I want these 60 degrees to be deployed in my custom properties, but also back into my component reference in here. So the way we do that is we can control that with a post script. So basically what I need to do here is delete all this out again, and I'm going to save that, and we're going to open up our plate, and we're going to go into our define joint tool. Now this can be used also to go into existing joints of any description, and you can go in and modify the different items you have in here, the mates, the flexible mates, and so on and so forth. So you can edit them, you can change a different face, for example, you can add more mates, and so on and so forth. So the postscripts lives down here, and obviously I need to put in and add a new postscript in here, and I'm going to go in and have a look at my properties for that. I'm mainly interested in the code here. I could put a description in and so what. It depends on how many scripts you want to put in. It would be an idea to name them then. So in here we've got some, with a right click we've got some functionality here where we can put in different things, loops, logical statement, if then. So if a part exceeds a certain size, then switch to a specific configuration, for example. So we've got different types of information we can tap into here. Now, I prepared something earlier just to make it a little bit quicker. So in this case, I want a property that's equal to brace. So I want to run in brace and then round the value and then get the dimension value, holes, angle at sketch 1, which was that dimension sketch or the angle I showed you before, and I want that with 1 decimal and obviously in degrees. And I want to set it to custom property description, and I want it to whack it back into the IC joint component reference. So I can go OK to that. OK. And we will tick OK and save that back. So let's try that out. We're going to go back and insert this again. So joints, plates, angle connection. We know how to do this now, so you can put that in there, and as you sort of get familiar with it, you can see this is very neat and tidy and easy to do. Bang, start off path, and like so. Go OK to that. So now we should hopefully have some information carried across. So we will have a look at our component properties first. You can see now it says brace 60 degrees. And for the custom properties for the inserted part itself, it should now say brace 60 degrees as well. So that worked well. So that's basically the gist of it. I hope you're going to enjoy this. I certainly did. It's a very neat tool to define these joints. Obviously, if you run into trouble, remember to contact beta@intercad.com.au, or you can contact support@intercad.com.au with any reports back. I hope you will have a good holiday, and I will see you in the new year. Thank you very much.